भूल गए थे. Don't set your standards too high.
Good
This
evening,
is
Kabir ji.
yes. If
Good evening.
austerity is like cutting or burning were all it took to attain enlightenment, you'd be there already. You've already suffered tremendously in this life, let alone in previous lives. Then he says, verse 22, the hardships suffered on the path to Buddhahood are different, for their span is limited, likened to the pain of an incision made to cure the harm of hidden ailments. This is clear, yeah? We've suffered countless times, meaninglessly in previous lives, and it's got us nowhere, really. It hasn't got us very far. For a fraction of that suffering, we can attain Buddhahood if we go about it in the right way. Those sufferings will not last very long. There will be sufferings in practicing the path and all of the other things we have to do, patience and so forth. There will be hardships, but it's nothing compared to what we experienced beginninglessly in samsara, as he puts it. We have been cut up, we have been eaten as animals, we've been eaten by other animals, we've been, tortured, we've suffered the flames of hell, the hardships of the hungry ghosts, all of that we've gone through. And it hasn't, we haven't woken up yet. Yet the suffering involved in my awakening will have a limit. It's like the suffering of having an incision made in order to remove and destroy greater pain. Even doctors eliminate illness with unpleasant medical treatments. So in order to overcome manifold sufferings, I should be able to put up with some discomfort. Yeah. Likewise, we, to uproot dreadful sorrow, should bear what are indeed but little pains. Yet the supreme physician, does not employ common medical treatments such as these. With an extremely gentle technique, he remedies all the greatest ills. At the beginning, the guide of the world encourages the giving of such things as food. Later, when accustomed to this, one may progressively start to give away even one's flesh. Yeah, so the Buddha is teaching a very gentle, graded path. There are hardships, but they're temporary, like taking small amounts of bitter medicine to ward off life-threatening illness. The austerities commonly practiced in India were not recommended by the Buddha. His instructions encourage moderation and relaxation. We practice non-aggressively, catching ourselves when our mind wanders off and gently returning to this fleeting, ungraspable moment. Yeah. So, yes, indeed. Yeah. Okay. What is immersive? Okay, don't want immersive. Okay. All right. The control has left us and Mr. Neeraj is there. Okay. Now we are on verse 25. The Buddha recommended a graduated path. We start where we are by giving food, small change, or whatever helps us to stretch a bit. We accustom ourselves to reaching out by doing practices such as just like me. I don't know what that is, just like me. Or visualizing giving away some of our cherished possessions. Our ability to do more naturally grows. We don't have to force it or expect more from ourselves than we can currently do. If our practice feels like an austerity, we need to look at what we're doing. If it's too harsh, we can lighten up, bring in more gentleness and humor. A man I know had been trying to do the Tibetan prostration practice for 10 years. The fact that he'd managed to do only a few ate away at him, making him feel guilty and discouraged. Then his meditation instructor very wisely suggested that he do only 3 prostrations a day and then stop. His first response was, that's not enough. But his instructor insisted that he give it a try, and after 1 week, he asked to do 50 to 100 prostrations each morning. Initially, she said, no, just do 25. But within a month, he was eagerly doing hundreds of prostrations a day. So this extremely moderate, relaxed approach broke through his resistance. So bodhisattvas sometimes have to retreat. This doesn't mean giving up. It means finding out what we can do with enthusiasm. This is something we have to experiment with. We discover for ourselves what's too tight, what's too loose, what brings us benefit, what causes further harm.
I'm here, Kabir.
Yes, hello, yes. So, and welcome Rajesh ji. Okay, now verse 26. So he's saying, gradually we can get to the stage where we may be able to donate our own flesh. Because he says, when one has the view that sees an equality between one's own body and the food that one gives, why then? What hardship can there be in giving up, relinquishing one's very own flesh? So Pema Chodron says, when we reach the point where we can see no difference between our own flesh and hamburger meat, we'll have no problem relinquishing our body to save another's life. Right now, however, we'd be wise to bring enthusiasm to whatever we can do and not worry too much about the future. Gentleness, again, is the key to progressing along the path. This ends the section on the 3 kinds of laziness. Remember the last kind? We've just been discussing laziness of despondency. I can't do it, it's too much for me. So Shantideva has been giving instructions on how to remedy that one. Now, next verse 27. Having forsaken all transgression, there would be no suffering. Due to wisdom, there would be no lack of joy. But now my mind is afflicted by mistaken conceptions, and my body is caused harm by unwholesome deeds. Shantideva is now pointing out 2 major causes of our suffering. One, creating negative karma, referred to as sin. Sinfulness, transgression, and Bachelor's translation. And with even a little understanding of cause and effect, it dawns on us that the worst harm we can do to ourselves is to hurt others. And the second cause is a closed, unskillful mind. The mind that conceptualizes, compartmentalizes, a mind incapable of seeing things without bias. We have solid ideas about self and others, equally fixed opinions about what's acceptable, what's unacceptable, and this leads to false views. Conversely, when our mind is free of prejudice and self-righteousness, we no longer act out of aggression and other neuroses, and our suffering lessens. So with an understanding of karma and false views, even intellectually, we become more eager to loosen their destructive power. Merit is the true cause of the body's ease. While happiness of mind is brought about by training, what can sadden those who have compassion, who linger in samsara for the sake of beings? He's giving three causes for happiness here. First, merit, the fortunate consequence of wise and skillful actions. So this raises an interesting question. Why, with all the time and energy we put into staying healthy, do we still have accidents and come down with painful or fatal diseases? And the Buddhist teachings say that the merit of favorable circumstances, such as good health, is not ultimately the result of vitamins, but of our previous positive actions. So if this is true, it follows we'd be wise not to strengthen negative habits that will only lead to suffering. He also says it's the result, that mental well-being is the result not of outer pleasure, but of training the mind, taming our mind. The more we train in letting go of fixed ideas, opening ourselves to others, the happier we become. When discouragement or confusion does set in, instead of escalating it, we know to let the thoughts go, stay present and relax. Yeah, that's good advice. Hard to accomplish, but very good. Usually we escalate a lot of these things. In fact, escalation is usually used for this kind of thing. The organization, Foundation for the Escalation of Peace. That's a weird name, because escalation usually is not used for peace. It's usually arms race or conflict escalates or something negative. Anyway, yeah. Third cause of happiness is that nothing discourages those beings who are choosing to stay in samsara for the sake of benefiting others. Nothing discourages those kind of people. Even if they remained in cyclic existence for the sake of others, why would the compassionate ones ever be upset? How can we get seriously despondent about samsara's challenges once we've chosen to incorporate them into the path of awakening? When we're training to transform bad circumstances into the path of enlightenment, we will not get bogged down in feelings of failure as soon as something goes wrong. So what usually makes some people, pinch their noses and avoid that place where there is a lot of manure, gardeners eagerly, go and get that manure to put on their gardens, because they know that if it's used properly, it transforms into very, very fertile soil and wonderful plants. But initially, of course, it's rather smelly and puts off people who don't understand or don't understand the benefit of working with it intelligently. So same way, bodhisattvas know how to transform difficult circumstances. It's no problem for them, they don't get bogged down. For through their power of bodhicitta, former sins are totally consumed, and merit, ocean vast, is gathered in and therefore we say that they are higher than the Shravakas. Now, here, Pema Chodron talks a bit about the Shravakas. Remember, they are the hearers. They are on the basic path, the Hinayana path of self-liberation. So the Shravakas mentioned here take up the Buddhist path to escape samsara. So one of the major differences between the Bodhisattvas and the Shravakas, therefore, is their attitude towards chaos. The Shravaka might regard the taking and giving practice, for example, as the antithesis of the Buddha's teachings. You know, for them, they would ask, would the Buddha ever teach us to breathe in suffering when his whole message was liberation from suffering? So the Shravakas have an aversion to samsara, which we can probably appreciate. Their goal is utter cessation and peace. Bodhisattva, on the other hand, is constantly preparing to relate fearlessly with pain. Greater the suffering, the greater the need to go there, right into the hells of this world if need be. Thus merit, ocean vast, is gathered. Of course, we have to be realistic. Right now, we may barely be able to handle our credit card bills. Training with such everyday challenges, however, develops our courage to handle increasingly difficult situations in the future. In the next verse, Shantideva cheers us on, helps us to see our options. Why be sad once we've learned how to lean into challenges rather than avoid them? Why be dejected when we felt the possibility of inner strength? And this verse is, for mounted on the horse of Bodhichitta that puts to flight all mournful weariness, who could ever be dejected, riding such a steed from joy to joy? So that is in Bachelor's translation. Having mounted the horse of an awakening mind that dispels all discouragement and weariness, who, when they know of this mind that proceeds from joy to joy, would ever lapse into despondency? Wind was Shantideva's first metaphor for enthusiasm, and now he uses the image of a horse of Bodhichitta that carries us from joy to joy. It's a beautiful image. Instead of trudging up a slippery slope in boots that hurt our feet, we are eagerly riding through this unique and precious training ground called life. So then what supports us on this path? The supports when working for the sake of living beings are four, aspiration, steadfastness, joy, and rest. Aspiration is developed through fear of misery and by contemplating the benefits of aspiration itself. Let's first look at what is given in note 25. In the root text, appreciation, Sanskrit adhimukti, appears. Okay. Aspiration, that technical note. Okay. So aspiration is going to be discussed in verses 31 to 48. Steadfastness in verses 49 to 62. Joy in stanzas 63, 66. And rest, meaning taking rest, in verse 67. And how many verses in this chapter? Not that many compared to some of the others. 76. Okay, in order to increase my enthusiasm, I should strive to abandon its opposing forces and to amass the supports of aspiration, self-confidence, joy, and rest to practice in earnest and to become strong in self-control. I shall have to overcome the boundless faults of myself and others. In order to destroy each of these faults alone, I may have to strive until an ocean of eons is exhausted. Yet, if within myself right now I don't perceive even a fraction of the perseverance that I require to exhaust these faults, why then don't I have a heart attack? For now I have become an abode for infinite misery. He really scolds himself here. Anyway, aspiration is a yearning to free ourselves from neurosis so that we can help alleviate the suffering of other people. It's a deep, okay, that's aspiration. It's also deeply felt conviction that we express to ourselves in words. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the root of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the root of suffering. This isn't just empty rhetoric. It's reaffirming our Bodhisattva intention. So it becomes increasingly meaningful and supportive. Where does aspiration come from? Shantideva says it comes from the fear of suffering, fear of the consequences of continually giving in to habitual reactions. It comes from, as well, from getting clear about the positive results of not getting swept away. You might ask if I know for sure that this path results in happiness. I'm glad to tell you that if you gently tame your mind and emotions, well-being at the very least is guaranteed. The forces that secure the good of being are aspiration, firmness or steadfastness, joy, and moderation. Aspiration grows through fear of suffering and contemplation of the benefits to be attained. Yeah. Therefore, leaving everything that is adverse to it, to aspiration, I'll labor to increase my perseverance through cheerful effort, keenness, self-control, through aspiration, firmness, joy, and moderation. Once more, Shantideva expresses his enthusiasm for the Bodhisattva's way of life. With so many tools to help him, he joyfully aspires to leave laziness behind and eagerly go forward. He voices his intention to call on the four strengths as well as cheerfulness. Four strengths being, I guess, aspiration, firmness, joy, and moderation. Hopefully we feel encouraged to join him. Let's do this together. Let's each do whatever we can to bring some light into this time of darkness. And then later he's saying, I already read the Bachelor in this other translation, and yet, you know, for this big enterprise, this great Bodhisattva enterprise, what's my situation right now? I don't see within myself the slightest aptitude for this great enterprise. Yeah. I, whose destiny is boundless suffering, why doesn't my heart now burst asunder? You know, given that I have such a task ahead and I'm not really doing what's necessary right now, therefore my destiny is going to be, you know, endless suffering. Why don't I just have a heart attack? Why doesn't my heart break, you know, burst asunder? So there are two sentiments being expressed. First, Shantideva is saying how impossible the great enterprise is. I'm not going to get discouraged. But on the other hand, he's also saying, hold on, wait a minute. Who do I think I am? making such statements. I don't have what it takes for this job. So once again, however, we have the Shantideva twist, his ability for honest self-reflection without letting it hold him back. All virtues for my own and others' sake, though they be many, I must now accomplish, even if for each I must endeavor for unnumbered ages. Matlab, even in order to generate, generosity in someone or in beings, I should be prepared to work for endless time, just to, help particular being. Yeah. So Shantideva sees his weak points, but he doesn't become despondent. And this is what makes the path possible. Because every one of us, every last one of us, has to do what it takes to wake up. Shantideva is willing to encourage all of us forever if need be. It's not like polishing a lump of coal that can never become a diamond. Our true nature is like a precious jewel, though it's temporarily buried in mud. It remains completely brilliant and unaffected, and we simply have to uncover it. In this spirit, Shantideva reaffirms his enthusiasm for the task. He will uncover his jewel-like nature in order to help others to do the same. Yeah, okay. We can have some discussion. Because online people, I'll have to stop for all of you in 10 minutes time. Yeah. So any question from the onliners? Kundrola, Venerable Kundrol, or Neeraj Bhai? Excuse me, yawning. It's very rude, but I can't help it. Anything? Neeraj-ji, anything?
No, sir, thanks. I got just to pollution outside.
Yeah, he's trying not to get discouraged. I hope you are not discouraged by the task of liberating everybody from suffering. All the friends
Watching TV, that election news, sir. All three people have won. Aam Aadmi Party, Congress, even BJP, all three won. Them win for democracy.
Nahi samjha. Anyway, you have to help all these politicians get enlightened, whether you like them or not. Yeah. Not just the people you voted for, but everybody. Did you vote? Did you vote?
Yes, sir, vote. But actually, this time I missed. I am living in Gurgaon. My voter ID card from Mukherjee Nagar. So.
Oh. Hoskas was very pathetic. Only 38% voter turnout. Hoskas area. It's pathetic, no? I think we're all we don't care.
Mostly shifted to Gurgaon. Mostly voters.
Acha. Anyway, what else? What else? Tushita folks, people, we have 4 of us here at Tushita, including myself. Ajirji, Namita, and Apurva. And I'm half asleep, so you have to forgive me, Neeraj Bhai. I'm very drowsy today, not expressing, not in the right mood for enthusiasm.
You got late also, sir. It was 1 hour late.
Yeah.
1 hour late.
I think Shantideva says something about rest. I think I want to read that.
Yeah, I was also just reading that line for rest. Thinking the same thing, wanting to amass the supports of aspiration, self-confidence, joy, and rest.
When my strength declines, I should leave whatever I'm doing in order to be able to continue with it later. मतलब जब थोड़ा हमारा क्या बोलेंगे स्ट्रेंथ शक्ति या ताकत कम होते जा रहा है तो फिर मैं हमको छोड़ना चाहिए जो भी कर रहा हूँ है ना ताकि बाद में जाके उसको कर सकूं बाद में जाके उसको करेंगे. Having done something well, I should put it aside with the wish to accomplish what will follow. Doesn't really give much space to rest, huh? Just one little verse, and in that only the first two lines. Really. When my strength declines, I should leave whatever I'm doing. ये नहीं कहते हैं कि आराम से अपना बिस्तर बना के ठीक से सो जाओ थोड़ा हॉर्लिक्स पी के या कुछ ऐसे कुछ नहीं कह रहे हैं. He's really not giving us much scope for laziness or indulgence, है ना. ये भी कहीं नहीं लिखा है इस टेक्स्ट में कि उठ के आप चाय बनाइए आराम से और ये नो अपने को कंफर्टेबल बना के चालू करो.
Take lemon ginger tea.
Lemon ginger tea, yes, correct. That would be good. यहाँ तो कुछ नहीं, यहाँ तो गर्म पानी मिलता है हमको और कुछ नहीं.
Come here at Gurgaon. I will give you. I will serve you. Come to my house.
मैं आ रहा हूँ.
For lunch.
छोटा मेडिटेशन ग्रुप बनाते हैं वहाँ.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Start a center at Gurgaon also, sir.
Yeah, good idea.
सर गोयनका जी ने ऑलरेडी इतना बड़ा स्टार्ट कर दिया वहाँ धम्मा श्रोता इन गुरगामा शो में.
अच्छा. हाँ
बहुत बड़ा है सर. इट्स वेरी ह्यूज 20 एकर्स.
20 एकड़. धम्मा श्रोता चालू करेंगे तो किसी के बैठक में. सेंटर वेंटर नहीं चाहिए बड़ा.
यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम.
सिर दर्द है उसमें सेंटर में. Yeah.
Thank you for your effort, Kabir.
Thank you, Venerable. You should have dinner now, please, if you haven't already.
No. I'll wait. Thank you.
Aren't you hungry?
No, I can wait. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. ठीक है. All right. Acha, I thought you were left, but you were there somewhere, were you?
Yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Oh, you've been there. That's why it's actually your name in the center of the screen, but before it was Mr. Neeraj. And I'm just a little rectangle. I don't know why I'm not getting bigger, but everyone else is. Oh, look, there's a whole bunch of other people. I had no idea. This is a strange screen on this. I'm not using my own computer. Why am I not seeing everybody?
If you click on the participant,
gallery mein aa gaya. Gallery mein. Okay, thank you everyone. I didn't know there were so many people here.
There's like nine.
I would have behaved better actually. I thought just some old friends are here. Okay. So Gulnare ji, Gaurav ji, Niels, Mamta ji, Rohini, all of you. Yeah, thank you for being there. Any questions?
When we are talking of the aspiration. So there are the two factors. One is the fear of misery, and the second is the benefits of
the mind of aspiration.
Yeah, the mind of aspiration.
Yeah.
I'm really wondering, do we really have a fear of misery? So that
No,
do we
not enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ajit ji is saying, do we really have enough fear of suffering, of misery?
To have a good aspiration.
In order to develop, very
That's
good
what Shantideva is saying.
aspiration. Good question, yeah. I certainly don't have most of the time.
Yeah. life is taken granted.
I'm not thinking of the fear of suffering. The only time I have fear is when I'm facing one of my irate directors, female directors, or about to cross the busy road. Then there's some fear. But in terms of negative karma or all these things, future suffering, death, yeah, sometimes I feel a little anxious, but nothing, not nearly as much as what Shantideva is recommending.
Kabirji, your name was taken so many times by our dean, FMS, Vivek Suneja ji.
I see.
Vivek Suneja.
Yeah, Vivek Suneja ji. Yes, he was a very fine.
Very, very great supporter of your Tushita Center. He sent so many students of FMS to Tushita. Even I myself also come.
He has not been here for many years, so I don't know what kind of supporter he is.
I will invite him.
Please bring him. Yeah.
Definitely, I will.
He's saying
Delhi
University में थे, yeah.
FMS Dean, Director.
Very
Vivek
fine
Suneja.
person. I was
Very
really
fine
impressed
person,
by
yeah.
him.
Very great supporter of His Holiness.
Yes, yes,
He
indeed.
organized all the meeting in Delhi University, His Holiness.
Right, right. Thank
Even
you.
3 students became monks, sir. For
Mhm.
FMS IIT students became monk in US.
Acha.
उन्होंने तो मैं बना दिया 3 लोगों को.
Okay, good. You have 2 minutes, you people online. Somebody else has a question or comment? I'm sorry, but I have to relinquish the laptop in a minute. Anything? I apologize also for the short session today.
So which, in case we don't have these factors, these 2 factors, Shantideva is virtually saying that we have no aspiration.
Yeah. Yeah, if we don't have this factor of fear of suffering, we cannot have the proper aspiration to, follow the Bodhisattva path. Yeah, she doesn't mention that. Well, it's mentioned in the text, isn't it? Yeah. For this great enterprise, I don't see within myself the slightest aptitude. That kind of covers that. The fact that I don't have aptitude means I don't have those kind of qualities of being concerned about suffering and so forth. Fear of the consequences of continually giving in to habitual reactions. Yeah, our habitual ways of thinking and so forth are so strong that, doesn't, maybe I can take the session for those off online on my smartphone now for those who want to stay, because, huh? No? Kaise? You sure? Okay, I've been given a lease of life. We can carry on with the laptop for a little while. Yeah. So anybody, some people here, yeah. Anybody online want to ask something? Mention something? Did you just join us, Oscar Wilde? That's a bit late. Kya ho gaya?
We had a staff meeting, then I had to have my dinner. My children, their girls are getting ready for bed. Yeah, lots of things.
Yeah, understand.
Anusri painting was nice. Fastest.
Yeah, you're all Thangka painters now. Yeah.
Yeah, we did it. We will bring it again.
Haji, regarding Shantideva's verses we just looked at, any feedback? Rajesh ji, anything?
It's very hard to make practice in balance.
A balance.
Sometimes we do overly, sometimes do less.
Yeah.
How to maintain that rhythm?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. I'm not the best person to ask, but Shantideva would probably say, keep on remembering the consequences of negative karma and, all of the unpurified negative karma waiting for us. Death just around the corner, He would mention those things, I suppose.
Now I am in Bodh Gaya. I'm still purifying every day. So I try so hard.
You're in Bodh Gaya? Wow.
Yes.
Very good, very good. Very good. Where are you staying?
I'm staying in this sabji market somewhere, one room in the corner side.
Wow. Wow, good, good. You're
I
going
could
to
not
the
find
temple-
a better place.
Going to the temple every day, yeah?
Yeah.
Good, good. Wonderful. That's the way to go. What else? Anybody? Apurva ji, anything?
I'm just trying to understand this quote, this verse about why do I not have a heart attack? Just the twist of his thinking is what I'm just sort of.
But you understand what he's saying, right?
Somewhat, not entirely.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
I think there are maybe I missed some verses that middle. So I think I need
Well,
to keep more of it in context.
He's basically saying we are behaving in such a foolish way. There's a huge task ahead, incredible dangers as a result of previous negative karma waiting for us in the future. Tremendous suffering is waiting for us in the future. We don't have a sufficient capability of dealing with it. We're not showing the signs of being capable of dealing with it. We're lazy. We don't fear negativity. We don't have the causes for, proper aspiration to practice. Yeah. So therefore, my future is going to be a suffering future. So contemplating that, why don't I have a heart attack right now?
Oh, just because of the sheer magnitude
Yeah.
of the problem.
Yeah. I, whose destiny is boundless suffering, why does not my heart now burst asunder? Matlab, I should just, I should be, It would be like, oh no, this realization that I'm done for kind of thing. So therefore, heart attack through the stress, through the stress of it, of this realization that I haven't done enough,
But I'm wondering if that type of enthusiasm would be sustainable, or would it just not?
You mean the kind that Shantideva is espousing?
Yeah, I mean, especially one that's sort of instilled by fear, particularly. But of course, that's the theme throughout. Like
Initially,
yeah,
fear is very good
yeah, very
in some cases, so long as it doesn't paralyze us, don't you think? We fear if we get, a blood test done or go to a good doctor and he says, really, you're in danger of having a heart attack or getting diabetes or something if you don't change your habits, then it's only some kind of real concern or even fear that's going to make us change. Otherwise, we don't care, right? We fear. We have fear. There is positive fear, obviously. It's a survival mechanism. If from the time when people living in caves or whatever if they didn't fear wild animals, they wouldn't take proper precaution and make defenses.
That's why I guess I'm just trying to compute, like within 3 paragraphs, he's talking about things like joy and rest, and then he's talking about the heart attack, which is just
He's changing tack. He's changing tack. Yeah. It's like he's shifting gears or whatever. He's talking about something else then. As long as we can follow the change. Because he's just finished talking about the 3 kinds of laziness, which he mentioned at the beginning of the chapter. And now he's talking about something else.
I don't know. I think maybe just I have that tendency of just sticking to certain words, one particular verse, and that just stays with me for a little longer.
You like a one track.
Maybe so. I don't know. It's the memory thing, I guess. It sticks, but I'm trying to sort of.
You're a more modern person. You're more modern. You like highways, 8-lane highways, straight, not deviating. Whereas.
But I'm trying to create more summaries, longer summaries of entire chapters rather than just being attached or more inclined towards one verse. Which I think, especially on this page, it's a great example of that.
Yeah. You could say he's keeping us on our toes also. Yeah.
What are the opposing forces of enthusiasm? Is only the laziness, or?
He mentions 3 in the first few verses of the chapter. The procrastination. पढ़िए ये देखते हैं इस translation में क्या है. The opposite of enthusiasm is laziness, inclination for unwholesome ways, number 2, and despondency and self-contempt, number 3. Often called in other traditions, in Lamrim Chenmo or the other translation, procrastination, engaging in just worldly actions, in useless worldly actions. And then the third one, self-denigration, self-contempt. I can't remember the exact translation in the Lamrim Chenmo Tsongkhapa text translation, but it's virtually that. Not believing in oneself. And
so those 3 are shown as
the main opposing forces to enthusiasm.
52. Thus, in order to increase my enthusiasm, I should strive to eliminate its opposing. So these are the 3 forces. Procrastination, then wasting the time in the unwholesome activities,
or just useless worldly So cheerful effort, keenness, self-control, aspiration, firm, steadfastness, joy, moderation. And of course, generating that sense, definition of enthusiasm being joy in engaging in wholesome action. Delight in virtue. Heroic perseverance means delight in virtue. And what does ये क्या कहते हैं? What's enthusiasm? Finding joy in what is wholesome.
Its opposing factors are explained as laziness, attraction to what is harmful,
despising oneself.
Yeah.
And because of attachment to the pleasurable taste of idleness, because of craving for sleep, because of having no disillusion with the misery of cyclic existence, laziness grows very strong. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, people are disillusioned with their temporary problems, that's for sure. People are very upset, but not with the overall misery of psychic existence. They still think that, we still think that samsaric pleasures are something, or samsaric achievements are something to be striven for, and that they will make us happy. So we still don't have disillusionment with samsara. We still think there's a tiny corner somewhere at least where we can find happiness, lasting happiness in samsara. But there is no lasting happiness in the samsara. So we have to get very wary and weary of samsara. Wary means W-A-R-Y. That means that we should have we should not trust samsara. We should be a little bit afraid, and we should be weary, tired of it. This is not easy to generate because we're so caught up with the mind of desire. This is the desire realm. We're driven by desires. We want pleasant sensations. And if we have enough of them, then it helps us to forget actually that overall samsara is like a house on fire, you know. But our striving for and our occasional enjoying of temporary pleasures, it dulls our mind. It makes us not able to see that overall it's a complete mess. Samsara is a complete mess, and it's dhoka dene wala cheez. It's betrays us. The body betrays us. People betray us in the sense that they die or they leave or they can't fulfill our expectations, etc., etc. All rather, what should we say? Yes. All rather depressing, really, in a way. Or certainly disillusioning, we should say. Disillusioning. Which is what it's supposed to, we're supposed to feel that way. It's a good sign. Anything else before I prove that one can study a chapter called Enthusiasm and fall asleep while doing it?
Kabirji.
So that's
Kabirji.
Hello.
Hello. So I had a question.
You had a question, did you? Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So obviously, like fear can be, there are different types of fear, and even in the Bible, they write now the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Now, but like I was reading K, obviously, and I have a discussion tomorrow. We have these discussion groups. So he says that freedom, like fear, breeds illusion, fear of any kind, and we are all plagued by it. And fear of any kind breeds illusion, and it makes the mind dull and shallow. So what does that mean?
What does that mean? साफ साफ बोला है what it means. हमसे क्या पूछ रहे हैं? हमसे ऐसे सवाल मत पूछा कीजिए 9 बजे रात
fear.
ये तो पेशेंस का एक हद होता है ना. There's a limit to patience, Anushri ji. Yeah, you are stretching my patience. I'm joking. Okay. What do you think it means?
I don't know.
Come on, you're
fear is of, no, but like I heard, fear is of different kinds, right? Like different types. So fear, and it can be of, so which kind of fear is he talking about?
Now you got me confused. What kind of fear is he talking about? He's talking about the fear of suffering.
Fear of continuing in the cyclic
Yeah.
existence.
Fear of being flayed, fear of going to hell, fear of being a hungry ghost, fear of being an orphan in your next life with no one
No,
to care.
not Shantideva. Not Shantideva.
Oh.
K. What is K talking about? Like
Dude, I
when he
know.
says fear breeds
You're the
breeds
teacher in
illusion.
K school. How do I know what K is thinking? He's dead. तो हमें क्या पता कि वो क्या सोच रहा है? वो तो बंदा गुजर गया, छोड़ दिया अपना शरीर. आप लोग उनके झंडा को उठा के फैला रहे हैं, तो आप लोग बताइए ना. You're the ones who should tell me about K. Krishnamurti. Anyway, it doesn't take much imagination, does it, Oscar? You have to see how any kind of fear, if taken too far, is just not going to be very useful, is it? It's going to, if you've had experience of fear in your life or anxiety, then you know how deadening it is. It stops us enjoying life, stops us inspiring ourselves, stops us inspiring others. It just drains our energy. I mean, that's my experience. Maybe that kind of fear is what he's talking about. The fear that is instilled by religious so-called leaders who, with sheep-like disciples, who just make their disciples afraid that if you do this, that'll happen. If you don't behave, this will happen, and not really encouraging the students to also reflect and think properly for themselves. So that kind of fear, which is very much inculcated in a long time
Kabirji,
in the religious traditions, that fear is not so good. Haji, Rajesh.
Kabirji, मेरे को ना I feel all the time like some kind of fear when I think about the beginningless birth. I really feel sometimes like it's really like we are got first time. This is the only opportunity we can do something.
Yeah.
And also I want to do. I realize this, and then that can happen anytime. This precious human body is so precious. Like I am feeling is not sure to find again. And in that same period, I'm trying to do so much practice, so much purification, and I'm studying like emptiness, bodhicitta, renunciation, everything I'm studying. But still, I am just like not getting like I want to do so good, but I always trying, but not good result are coming.
Well, you're still trying, which is more than what most people are doing. And since you're in Bodh Gaya doing this, I think it will definitely have amazing results, but maybe not immediately. But you are planting incredible seeds for the future, so you should be happy at that. That's my feeling. Nobody is saying quick results.
I'm having double purification in the daytime. Bodh Gaya temple purification in the night time. My wife snores so strongly in the room.
Your wife snores strongly.
Yeah,
That's
whole night.
Yeah. Well,
Double purification.
can she? Yeah. Can you use earplugs or something? Or?
Doesn't help.
Well, then that's your fault for taking your wife with you to Bodh Gaya. You should have gone alone.
She pushed me. She pushed me. I was.
Huh?
She wanted to come.
I see.
I could not say anything.
Well, what to do? I'm speaking as a single person, so yeah, I can see you have an issue there. So I don't know what to say.
I'm ready to do anything. I'm ready to go alone anywhere where to purify myself.
Acha. Well, anyway, you're in the right place, and maybe a few nights a week you can spend some money and have your wife stay in a nice some other place, and you can have a good night's sleep, because you must be very tired in the day if you're not sleeping at night and prostrating.
Yeah, frustration. Yeah, at least 7, 8, 900 frustration every day,
Hmm. Anyway,
and circumambulation and doing other many practice as well.
wow. Wow. Well, I rejoice in that. And thanks for sharing your, intimate details of, all these other things. But I hope, anyway, it will be very beneficial long term, I'm sure. How long are you planning to be in Bodh Gaya?
I think 2 months. I can stay longer also, but my wife's my childrens are also coming 26th.
Oh boy. Yeah, then you will have a, okay. And there won't only be snoring, there'll be other kinds of your
Now
kids.
then I will go other room
Acha, very good.
with
That
my
sounds,
friends. Some of my with my friend.
yeah, I hope they don't snore. Yeah. Theek hai. Maybe you snore and you don't know it. How about that?
No,
When you're-
people don't say. Other people, I say like once or twice a month, not much.
Theek hai.
They
Anyway,
say
it's very
like that.
good. Yeah, very good that you are doing all these practices. It's wonderful. In the holy temple, holiest place of Buddhism. Amazing. Yeah. So please carry on doing that and dedicate for us in the evenings, for all of us here in Delhi. Yeah.
Yeah, I am dedicating it already.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, just a few more minutes. You can do. What if you didn't have that desire? What if you didn't have that desire to have a bodhisattva, to be a bodhisattva? Would you ever become one?
I think desire will provide a direction.
If you don't desire to eat this evening or desire to eat tomorrow, and the next day, then what will happen? If you don't desire anything, what will happen? समझ गए ना? Desire zaruri hai. Just have good desires that bring benefit, like eating enough food. And the desire to be a bodhisattva is obviously an amazing desire, but yeah, it's also a mistaken state of mind in the sense that it's a conceptual mind and it's not a spontaneous mind yet, but it's better than not wanting to be a bodhisattva. Far better, far better. But yeah, all conceptuality of this kind is somewhat mistaken, technically speaking, but it's a wonderful thing to have. That desire, don't you think? Would you agree, Ajivji?
Yeah,
Good desire, no? But the desire just to have, more and more, I don't know, more and more gajar halwa, more and more this, more and more that, that's just attachment.
I think somebody has made the difference between desire and the craving. The desire in the form, the craving is not wholesome. But the desire per se may not necessarily be unwholesome.
Yeah.
I think even his holiness, we need to have a desire to study, desire to know more, desire to help others, so which is beneficial.
Yeah. Definitely. Of course, we can be very unskillful with our desires. We can desire something so much and in such a kind of neurotic way, and then we can be, talking about our desire to everyone and trying to convert them, to our path, I really want to be a Buddha, and you also should really be a Buddhist and want to be a Buddha. That, of course, all that is inflation and compensation or whatever. But healthy desire followed wisely like that, it's essential. We have to desire to be free of samsara. We have to want that. We can't be, maybe, maybe not. Maybe samsara's okay, maybe they're exaggerating. I've had a good last year or last month, I think samsara's okay. So that's no good. One should want to be free, desire to be free. Because the definition of negative desire, which is attachment, is a mistaken mind that exaggerates the attractive qualities of an object or person and wants to get it, thinking it will make one happy. That's attachment. So if you want to be a bodhisattva, there is none of that negative attachment in that, because it's maybe mistaken in the sense that we still haven't realized emptiness, but it's not exaggerating the qualities of a bodhisattva. It's hard to exaggerate the qualities of a bodhisattva because bodhisattvas are so amazing. So that there's no question of negative, attachment. If you desire to be a bodhisattva, desiring to be a bodhisattva is quite different from desiring to buy this or that, or get a certain position, or or win the heart of a certain person. Desiring to be a bodhisattva is quite different, totally different level. So I wouldn't worry about that, or desiring to be enlightened. But then, of course, perfection of wisdom takes it, to another level, where it says that if a bodhisattva thinks that, oh, I'm a bodhisattva and I'm this and that, then they're finished. They are not a great bodhisattva, a real bodhisattva, if that's how they're thinking. That I'm a bodhisattva and I'm saving sentient beings from suffering. If they think like that, they're not a real bodhisattva, because all this conceptuality. But that's very high level practice, which we have to aim for. It's necessary.
Which we have to desire. Which we have to desire for.
We have to desire.
Desire for.
That high level practice? Oh yeah. We have to desire to be able to understand the perfection of wisdom. Without that, you won't be able to free yourself from samsara, let alone become a Buddha. Have to understand emptiness. There is no I to be found, no inherently existing I or object or action to be found. If you read the Vajrakata Sutra, Vajrachedika, it's amazing. We'll quote some of that in one of our sessions. It's a very wonderful short sutra, 24, 25 pages, where in the first few pages, so reference to this. Buddha is explaining to Subhuti, one of his very wise monks, what a bodhisattva is, what they're not, So he's saying, a bodhisattva aims to liberate all these different kind of beings born from the womb, beings born from eggs, and the Buddha is talking like this, and he says, but if a bodhisattva thinks that they are liberating sentient beings, then mistake, in terms of perfection of wisdom, because there is no real person, real bodhisattva, real I, liberating any real other being at all, from the ultimate point of view. Relatively, yeah, a lot of stuff is happening. Ultimately, there is no rescue happening, no inherently existing rescue happening. So this should make us wonder what these teachings are about and stimulate us to study some of the teachings on wisdom, emptiness. Okay, I think we can stop there. And thank you all very much online. Again, sorry it was starting late today. And only an hour and a half, although an hour and a half is quite good. hope some benefit from Shantideva's verses. Let's dedicate for the happiness and welfare of beings, especially those whom you know are suffering right now, people you know, people who have just died, our great Dharma friend Suresh Jindalji, then Deepthi, and the owner of the Midland Bookshop, Bag Sahib, Mirza Yasin Bag, and then for our landlady, Prama Bhandari, who's been quite sick, and then please dedicate for all of us never to be separated from these teachings, authentic teachings and teachers. May all our teachers have long and healthy lives. All their Dharma wishes to be fulfilled. May the Dharma, which is the sole source for happiness, last for a very long time. And may we all help to uphold that Dharma through study, reflection, meditation. Especially please dedicate for life of His Holiness Dalai Lama and for Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, all the other great teachers. Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
This is the end, my friends.